Mr. Investor, welcome back to the channel, baby. So we're going to be talking about PerkinElmer, one of the big boys. The one, the only bio-nanogenomics. I want to talk about an interesting article I found, PerkinElmer's connections, and possibly how it can affect our... So please never forget, this is not financial advice, this is for entertainment only. I think you're going to like this video a lot and I think you're going to find it valuable and entertaining. So I came across a fabulous article. Fabulous, baby. So this interesting article was about UK public approval of whole genome sequencing, and this was for newborn screenings and how it can lead to a national rollout here in the UK. The first thing I want you to take note of is who wrote the article. Sukhvinder Nijha Nicklin, PhD at PerkinElmer. The PhD in the house, baby. Market development leader at PerkinElmer, Sukhvinder. She's been at PerkinElmer for 6 years and 3 months. So now within this article, she had mentioned, and by the way, this article is written on September 16th, 2021. You can find the article on technologynetworksdiagnostics.com. She wrote that there's public support for whole genome sequencing, and we've reached this stage where there could be a national rollout across the NHS. This could be the reality. For those of you that don't know about the NHS, this is the National Health Service over in England. It's an umbrella term for the publicly funded healthcare systems, and this has been funded out of general taxation. Now that public support is growing for whole genome sequencing, and whole genome sequencing has become more affordable, and now it's been effective enough to be incorporated into standardized newborn screening procedures in the UK, she has stated in this article that there's arguments for and against. So if we were talking about funding and resources, the argument here is that whole genome sequencing has the potential to have massive cost savings across the NHS, stating that from a purely financial perspective, if you're treating recurrent symptoms of a patient with an undiagnosed disorder over years, this could cost the NHS hundreds of thousands of pounds. However, if you're able to diagnose early, you can put them into treatment early and you can know exactly what's wrong with them. So utilizing whole genome sequencing and giving the appropriate treatment could significantly lower the costs of providing care for patients instead of them going on this journey, this diagnostic odyssey. This would be much better for the patient. But how about staffing and resources? Well, when you don't know what's going on, you often have to use specialist equipment, staff, and hospital space. Whereas if you can find and diagnose early, you can save a lot of resources, a lot of staffing. So there's also a potentially massive impact on patient well-being, because in some cases, when you diagnose early, you're able to kickstart a treatment program before the disorder creates irreversible damage to the patient's health. However, one of the problems with whole genome sequencing is that some studies have shown that genetic markers for condition-causing variants are not uniform across different ethnic groups. So it opens up the possibility for misdiagnosis under whole genome sequencing, especially for individuals from ethnic minority backgrounds. As we know, I know we always come back to this article, but the GeekWire article that talks about human genome sequencing rising to the next level of diversity and accuracy, February 25th, 2021. As a metric, 75% of structural variants that are present in the person's genome are missed by whole genome sequencing. However, they are captured by long-range, long-read technology. So now let's connect bio-nanogenomics into this. With PerkinElmer claiming to be one of the global leaders in newborn screening, let's go to their website and let's take a look at their numbers. So they have these newborn screening solutions for healthy starts to life. They want babies to survive and thrive. So the reasoning behind newborn screening, and this is where big money is as well, is it can prevent hundreds of thousands of instances of physical and mental disabilities and even deaths. They call themselves the global leader in newborn screening because over 700 million babies have been screened with PerkinElmer products over 25 years. 700 million babies. If we look at the global range here, there's 140 million babies born annually worldwide. 1 in 3 babies receive screening of any kind, but these are only screened for like 1 or 2 conditions. There are over 50 plus conditions that are known to have good outcomes when detected and diagnosed early, and they give 70 newborns a healthier start to life every day thanks to screening using the PerkinElmer products. So I believe the real money here is in the term newborn screening the general population. Over 700 million babies screened. It's probably a lot more than $100 a pop, but just say that we have 700 million times $100 a pop, 70 billion US dollars. Now with BNGO's connection to PerkinElmer, take a look at this. FSHD, the disease. This is a genetic disorder characterized by muscle weakness and wasting, atrophy. So it gets its names from the muscles in the face, in the shoulder blades, in the upper arms, which are affected. It's showing you generally what can happen to the body here in these pictures. And a couple years ago, PerkinElmer took the Sapphire on and they started developing their own laboratory developed tests. So they've grabbed the Sapphire, they've now developed their own laboratory developed tests, and take a look at this. They are utilizing whole genome optical mapping technology. So they've got the Sapphire, and imagine every single person that they test, every single person that they screen, if they're using Sapphire chips, how much is that accumulating for us in consumables? If newborn screening really rolls out, What kind of conditions will they be testing for? Will they test for like all genetic conditions? And with those gaps within whole genome sequencing, will they develop more products for different diseases? And my face has been cut off here, but you can see PerkinElmer has actually collaborated with Public Health England on SCID screening. So take a look here. Imagine the connection. Public Health England has agreed to use PerkinElmer's Victor Enlight instrument and Enlight neonatal Trek kit at 3 of 6 sites as part of an evaluation to screen newborn babies for this rare inherited genetic disease. So they're screening, right? They're screening the babies. SCID, severe combined immunodeficiency, is a genetic defect that affects the function of T cells. These cells play an important role in helping the immune system battle bacteria, viruses, and fungi that cause infections. So now let's take a look at staffing. We have Richard Shippey here, co-founded and led commercial operations at Cradle Genomics. These guys are market leaders and they're developing prenatal testing products. So previous to that, Richard Shippey also worked at Illumina, where at Illumina he was the Senior Director of Product Marketing, Reproductive and Genetic Health. This guy has launched some serious products and he said that Bionanogenomics is the perfect place for him to be. Alka Chaubey. She was the head of cytogenomics at PerkinElmer Genomics. Remember, this is how much PerkinElmer made last year. $3.8 billion. They have 14,000 employees. $3.8 billion annually they're making, and they're currently serving 190 different countries. Alka Chaubey said in one of the presentations that she searched her whole career to find a company like this. At PerkinElmer, she was leading successful development and launching several innovative products. She was helping to make that cash money by developing these products. And she even developed that new FSHD assay utilizing Sapphire. Next, Jason Pryor, Bionanogenomics Chief Commercial Officer. He was also at PerkinElmer Genomics. He was there for 3 years and 10 months. He was the Vice President of Commercial Global Labs. This guy has a strong sales background. If we take a look at his figures, his experience in genetic disease and cancer testing as well as pharmaceutical sales, under his leadership, GeneDx's revenue grew from $8 million to $225 million. And this was selling a menu of genetic testing products. They developed a menu. And you can see here with PerkinElmer Genomics, he had responsibilities covering sales, marketing, customer support, and he managed care across North America, Europe, China, and India. Worldwide, baby. This guy even has connections with major health insurance carriers to obtain coverage and maximize reimbursement for testing. So imagine at PerkinElmer, he was taken on board so he can help them scale up their business, and he managed to grow their revenues to significant levels in a short period of time. So PerkinElmer Genomics, 3 years, 10 months he was there. We went on to macrotrends.net to just track, and we can see here the revenue increase from 2017 when he was there, 2.2 billion, went to 2.7 billion in 2018, 2.8 billion in 2019, 3.7 billion dollars in 2020. And this guy has decided to leave PerkinElmer for Bionanogenomics. Now, I think the great connection between, PerkinElmer, Bionanogenomics, getting the Sapphire in there, letting them develop their own LDTs, and then they'll be utilizing the flow cells, the chips, the consumables. On the other side of that, we're developing our own Bionano laboratories, the CLIA labs, and we're trying to find a way to get through lots of our tests quickly. We've got the FSHD1 testing coming soon so we can do it for ourselves. And apparently the general gist of it is, if we can do it for ourselves, we can do it for you guys. So maybe this can also help with a lot of adoption. For FSHD, we save time. We reduce the turnaround time by 50%. So with Southern Blot, I think it takes 11 days. And with Bionanogenomics optical genome mapping, it took only 5 days. We've also got Cisco Trader over on StockTwits. Thank you very much for sharing this. Another reimbursement. So Premera Blue Cross Blue Shield Association. Insurance reimbursement codes, baby. You can see here rare diseases and the keyword optical genome mapping. I don't know if you can see it because it's quite blurry. Optical genome mapping down here as well. Optical genome mapping and whole genome sequencing together down there. And in London, there was a wildfire down here. Everybody was scooping up the newly IPO'd Oxford Nanopore Technology shares. However, you gotta remember, knock knock, who's there? It's me, Joe Butler. Let's make a nano nozzle together. Like, when that nano nozzle comes out and we effectively become a sequencing company as well. And how it may one day enable high throughput, massively paralleled long read sequencing of ultra high molecular weight DNA. I genuinely believe we are sitting on a gold mine with Bionanogenomics. So what do you think Bionanogenomics has? What is the reason why these great staff leave a company like PerkinElmer, which has billions of dollars in revenue, where they're creating innovative products, and they decide to come over to Bionanogenomics? What do you think Bionano optical genome mapping has, and what can it potentially do for the cytogenomic market for us to be able to poach these amazing staff? To finish off, on PerkinElmer's website, PerkinElmer is the global leader in prenatal and newborn screening. Last year, they did over 135 million tests to screen babies for various disorders. What does it take for staff to leave a company like that and come over to a small company like Bionanogenomics? PerkinElmer being nearly a $20 billion company. So let me know your thoughts and feelings. I want to know what you think about the amazing staff that we have at Bionanogenomics, how they all have this same kind of visualization for this roadmap, and how potentially disruptive Bionanogenomics Sapphire system can be to the world. Even just getting the Sapphire into companies like PerkinElmer is amazing. Let them develop their tests, let them use optical genome mapping, because when they start screening babies, they'll be using up our consumables. They've screened over 700 million babies. And I believe with this leadership, with this senior management team, we have so much to look forward to in the future, and I can't wait to see how the business develops and builds out. Lastly, I want to tell you, oil is booming at the moment. It's the latest hype. Here in London, it's so hard to get petrol. People are trying to fight each other at petrol stations. I have an oil play that is up 40%. My family are up over 50% on the oil play, and I'm considering selling most of it. If this goes into the fours, I'm going to I'm going to cut off probably 75% or even more of my oil holding and buy more Bionanogenomics. Please remember, none of this is financial advice, it's for entertainment only. If you want to support the channel, you can click the join button above my head. If you like content like this and you appreciate my content, you can send a donation in the description box below. There's a PayPal link. But if you're unable to, just you hitting the like and clicking subscribe is enough for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Mr. Investor over and out, baby.